I actually started in 75, and then I got sober for about 6 months, and then my sobriety date is now February 9th, 1976. I continued to go back to participate in events and be supportive of the residents.
I started ACW in 83 in the Friends of Alcoholics group, and briefly, and actually the group never formed. So I went to the Alcoholics group in 84. I was sobriety date is September 1st, 1984, and I was in the out participant program. Was a one-year program. I graduated. At my graduation, I said that I was really happy to share because I finally didn't have to be in the group anymore. It was hard for me. Then I volunteered with a cohort of friends around ACW at all the events.
My name is Susan Chassin, and the first connection I had with ACW was I was working for LA County in the office called OAAA at the time. It was Office on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And my first job there was supervising contract monitors, but then I moved, perhaps partly due to the fact that I was drinking and using and wasn't such a hot employee.
As a participant, an out participant, I went to the groups and the AA meetings on site. And when there were other events, I think ACW had a dance over at 6000 West Pico, which was the location for Beth Chaim Chadashim, an LGBTQ-focused Jewish temple. And lots of folks went there, and it was a fun place to be. I remember the Gay Pride event in probably the late 1980s that ACW had a flatbed truck and was driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, and at the beginning of the parade, it was empty, and at the end of the parade, it was packed with women who had gotten their sobriety started at ACW. We gradually started to get more residents, but those were some of the developing years.
When I came to ACW, I was working for Los Angeles County Probation Department, and so I would show up for group counseling and sometimes individual counseling. Some of that included anger management, which I will never forget, using the butacas to get anger out and try to stay focused on sobriety. I remember being sober my first Thanksgiving, and ACW made sure that all of us in the outpatient program were welcome to come to the house for Thanksgiving dinner, because I had no other place to go and I was feeling alone, and here it was a holiday and trying to stay sober. So that was so important to have that happen in that sober environment. I needed some assistance, and with my drinking and with memories of loss, and the department referred me to grief counseling because that was all they had. And that particular grief counselor had heard about ACW, and she referred me to ACW, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I want to give ACW credit for the fact that I was able to start recovery as a county employee, because I would sometimes go to meetings during the day. My drug of choice is marijuana, and it felt wrong to be going to these planning meetings stoned. And the kind of the example of ACW rubbed off on me that there was a place for women and that it was welcoming to all women, irrespective of identity and sexual orientation and stuff. And so I think that was a factor in my realizing that I had to do something. After I got to ACW, there were three main programs. I think that the residential program was already reopened by the time I got there, thanks to Elizabeth's Person's work. We also had a sober living up in Highland Park that eventually had to be sold. The people running it were too tender-hearted, and if a woman couldn't pay, they'd let her stay.
I was at the annual event this year, and women were saying how hard it is. I know if they say it's hard, but my mindset is I will fight through it until it's that hard. And I live in a fun zone. If you want to see a picture of my dog, I can show you. Oh, we did that already. Sorry. That's the deal, is that happy, joyous, and free, and jump into that as soon as possible, because you have to get immediate rewards for not drinking, using, abusing yourself or others. The mentality of ism is pervasive. So I have to be pervasive with my humor that doesn't pick on anybody else. It's not sarcasm, but it's the inner joy of just getting to be in my life today.
Learn how to trust another person and remember all those slogans that we had. Don't drink no matter what. And remember to call someone if you really wanted to drink. Call someone first.
My name is Barbara Johnston, and the date was September 12th, 1974. I was not motivated to get sober. My sponsor deliberately deposited me at the recovery house that day. And when I got there, I thought, where in the hell did I land? Okay. I was scared to death. Not that I'm this little timid thing, but I was much more shy back then. And it was all women, of course, and mostly lesbians, and I'm a lesbian. But it wouldn't have mattered if I was in a room with gorillas. I was scared to death. I want to thank ACW, and I want to thank Linda Weathers. I knew her, and Carolyn, and that whole bunch for having the privilege of being there. We played basketball, we played tackle football, all that sort of thing. And what I got to tell you is I learned how to have fun and to be sober with it. Now, what I didn't learn was that I could stay sober and get mad and still stay sober. So apparently I did finally get sober on 12/19/1980. Then I got tired of being poor. So I went and became a bus operator for Metro. And it was really a rewarding job, and it was a stressful job, but I loved it. There on Beverly Boulevard, I used to drive that a lot. I drove a lot of the Hollywood lines. And I would pick this one woman up. I'd park the bus right in front of her and make sure she got on first. She was an older woman. So there was no connection whatsoever or anything. So I did this, I don't know how many months, okay? So one night I was at ACW sitting, waiting for the meeting, and in walks this woman. And she says, I came to give my daughter a cake. And she looked at me and she said, oh, you're my bus operator. I almost died. I was like, yes, I am. And she was so sweet. You've got to learn how to pace yourself around people, put together a supportive group. We may get mad at each other, which we do. That's just common sense. But that we don't drink over it. Don't drink or use, no matter what. I was in, and this is many years later sober, that I was in county hospital really sick. I had 40 people come see me in the hospital. I was shocked. You know what I mean? I did not expect that.
Mary Margaret Smith, and I had been drinking heavily for some years, but what I later came to understand was a functioning alcoholic, because I had a job, I was in a relationship, I called it a stable relationship. Roberta at ACW, counselor at ACW, helped me understand the true nature of that relationship. That was one of the big things that happened in my early sobriety, was I came to understand what I do in relationships that creates the problems that I blame on somebody else. I came to understand my part in things. But AA's 12 steps helped me with that too, but I couldn't get there until I had some counseling and some group work at ACW, but I'm jumping all over the place. In 1985, I had been drinking steadily for some time, and I was recognizing that I was having some problems. I said I was letting my drinking get out of hand. I had always excuses, never good reasons, but always excuses. I didn't understand the difference between those two. I learned at ACW that it's a very good idea to write things down. We did writing exercises, and I was encouraged to keep a journal. Peggy at ACW, she said, put hard candy in one pocket, put that handful of slips of paper in another pocket with a bunch of change, and when you want to drink some water, eat some candy, and make a phone call. And so that's what I did in early sobriety, and I did that because of ACW recommendations, and that's bouncing back and forth. I could tell you circumstances about some of the moments where I was going to throw in the towel. I was just going to, especially in the early years, I've had enough of this. This is all stupid. ACW was the beginning of my learning how to think differently, how to think in a way that promotes recovery.
Lori Drabble, and I was a staff person in the prevention program between 1985 and 1989. There's a lot of magic that happens there when you actually interact with other people who are traveling that same road of recovery. I don't think I would have found my way if I hadn't had the opportunity to really hear from the experiences of others. And I think I, like a lot of other people, didn't necessarily walk in thinking, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to staying sober forever. But we walked in knowing that we wanted to have a life, to reclaim a life, or to start to create a life, maybe even for the first time. And that this was, a beginning place. And there were people there who could guide us in that process and who could be our friends and companions along the way.
My name is Sunshine Day, D-A-Y-E. So my name is Sunshine Day, and I was in ACW in 1987. I had reached a bottom that I had never reached before. I felt like a stray dog that had been hit by a car, that had patches of hair missing, that had fleas, that was walking with a limp. I was bad. I needed professional help. I had a friend who said, you need to go to ACW. And I was like, okay, ACW, but why? Why? You need to get a foundation and be out of your normal circumstances and situations so that you can get a foundation on your recovery and your sobriety, and you can learn a new way to live. And I was willing at that point to go to any lengths. And so I went. And there, I was sweetly reasonable. I was humble. I was teachable. I was ready. I began to learn how to live with other people and be in community and collaborate and cooperate. I recognized how selfish and self-centered and self-seeking I was. The honesty of being at that place was most important. And from there, I could build. But I had to admit to my innermost self that I didn't have it all together, that I didn't know the way, that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, who to say it to. With a name like Sunshine Day, most people would think, you must be happy all the time. There's grief, there's loss, there's disappointments. And I get to experience those and be real with those without putting on I'm okay. I want to be okay. But there are times that I'm not. And so that level of honesty has been the thread in my recovery this whole time. I still live in Long Beach, California, and whatever it is that I can do to continue to support the women at ACW and ACW itself.
Regina Price, my year of graduation, I think it was 1992. Okay. I lost my children to DCFS and my apartment, and I ended up on the streets. I called the old program that I was at, and they led me to ACW, and that's when I went in. They had just opened because they had renovated the whole place. I got love and care. I know someone to tell you I love you, that they care about me. I had a great room in bed. We had just a lot of good people coming in. They gave us just love, what we needed. Just being out there beaten up and no one cared, and really just listen to us. Things are going to come up in your life. Since I've been sober, I lost 4 family members that's dear to me. My brother first in 2007, my mother 2014, my sister 2019, and my only son in 2020. I'm blessed. I'm clean and sober. I'm no longer homeless. I'm no longer drugs. And I have a God, and I have ACW for life. It's simple. I can't to tell you that it's fabulous. It is what it is. It's one day at a time. But it all started back from my foundation to where I'm at, being clean.
Farrell, and I was in ACW residence program from December 6th, 1995 to June 7th, 96. I'd been to probably 10 detoxes from 1971 on. Just once a year I go and do a detox, never thinking I was in my heart that I was going to stay sober. I just did it to get my habit down or to get my boyfriend off my back. We went and got something to eat, and he says, "What about this other one, Alcoholism Center for Women?" And I hadn't called them yet, and I said, let's just go home. I wanted a drink. I'd just gotten out of detox, but I wanted a drink. And he goes, "No, let's go there first." So we went there, and Lillian Waddy, she was a force of nature. She was the house manager at the time. She bustled out. "I support you." And I went, "What does I support you?" Anyway, she told me to come back the next day, and I did. And I went into intake, and God, it was just it was just the best thing ever. I heard, "Give yourself a chance and don't leave before the miracle." And God, I needed a miracle, you know. It's easier to stay sober than it is to get sober.
Nadia Bruce. I was at ACW from June 98 through the end of December 98 at the residential program. I remember just crying on the front steps of ACW when they were checking me in. If I drink or drug again, I will die or go to prison, and neither of those is an option. So many people saying, we thought you were going to die. We thought before you were 30, you were going to be dead, and we were going to get that phone call, and you were going to be dead. And yet here you are at 58, helping other people, living life, having a great daughter, a great family, a cute dog, all of that stuff, and having inner peace. And of course, life happens. There's been bad times, and there's been poverty, and there's been death and whatever. But I've gotten through that with the support of others and with the steps and with everything I was taught at ACW.
I had been in a few rehabs. I had a friend, and I'd heard about ACW, and through another queer woman, and quickly checked myself in and did my entire court case from inside the rehab, which really, really, really helped me. In fact, the judge said, I don't even believe you, but I believe all the people that keep showing up at the courthouse for you. I've stayed clean and sober ever since. And it was just really nice to find a sense of family. I remember one of my friends in particular, I remember her saying, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if you're lying. I don't know if you're not lying. And I really don't care anymore. I'm just done. You're going to have to work at it. It's not going to come to you overnight. It was very much, with my counselor being no. And then telling me, obviously, you're going through shit and you just have to sit through. You have to write through it. You have to sit through it. And you have to get through it. And that's the only way.
My name is Desiree Garcia, and I graduated ACW in 2018 also. My drug use, my alcohol abuse, all of that started from a young age. I was like, let me just call ACW and see what they say. I called them, and I was so nervous. I didn't want to call. I was scared. I didn't want to face, I had I'd left the last time and I was almost in a fight and all this stuff. It was drama. I was drama. And so I was afraid to call and face that. But I called and the counselor picked up the phone. I think it was Miss Gina. And I remember her saying, I told her, hey, like I think I need a place to stay. I need to come back. And she said, just come home. She said, just come home. We'll wait for you. That's where I'm supposed to be. I'll forever be grateful for ACW and my experience and my time there. You don't have to die in your addiction. There's help. There's a way out.
Barbara Washington. I graduated January 2nd, 2018. I came because I was in an abusive relationship and I came out here from Georgia. I started drinking heavily again after I got out here because I was stressed about going back and I didn't want to go back. I was just a lost puppy. I had came from, I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home mom and he had taken me way to Georgia away from my family. And so coming in here, I didn't have any kind of expectations. I just sat and went with whatever people told me because I was looking for me. I was looking to find me. I had lost all hope. Everything went smoothly for me because I was just sitting. I wanted to soak in whatever ACW was telling me because I wanted some help. And I just didn't want to go back to the abuse. I was just like, had lost all motivation and hope. So be very hurtful in group. Like I'd have to walk out a few times. They'd say, come back in, you need to listen. And I was like, I don't want to listen because it was just too much. And they would say, no, you need to come back in and you need to listen because you need to get it up to the forefront so we can help you with it. Because I didn't understand how to help myself. That's what it is about ACW. They make you feel like home. It was the warmth of it, and it didn't feel like you were in an institution, and it just felt like a home. I want to do better because I'm so grateful for finding me again.
My name is Emily Lambie, and I was checked into ACW December 23rd, 2019. I had been years of slow self-destruction. I had tried to quit drinking and using over and over, and it was just a vicious cycle of crash and burns and restarting. I had previously gone to Cry Help before, left and relapsed, and then went back to Texas, and then came back this time and was looking for different rehabs. And I gained self-respect and self-love, which is the first step for me to be able to function and heal. And I learned how to be honest with myself and ask for help. I learned humility. I learned willingness. Just so many things, that communication. I overcame a lot with dealing with the other women, with patience, with kindness, compassion for maybe what somebody else was going through. And now I'm able to take that out into the regular world, and now I sponsor 5 women.
Darcy Morris, 2019 and part of 2020. I went in as I had medium golden brown when I went into ACW, and I came out like this. So it was fun though, getting with the younger people. You just want to shake them and say, just do it while you're young, but I know you can't do that. They got to learn on their own. But I loved ACW, really. It was, once I got adjusted to it, yes, all the counselors were very nice. My dad passed away while I was in there, so I was heartbroken, and it was just really hard. But Miss Susanna saved my life. I love her to death. Be true to yourself. Honesty to yourself is the best medicine. It was for me. Once you're honest with yourself and really know in your heart that you have a problem and you need help, and it's not embarrassing or dumb or anything to ask for help when you don't know where to go or what to do.
My name is Megan Amaya, and I was there October 2019. It all starts with that solid foundation, and ACW provided that. I just needed to make sure that I did my part. I know it's hard to feel feelings. I know it's tough, but once you do it, like once you cross that bridge of like, it's not that bad. I look back and I'm almost 4 years completed. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it without the foundation. This isn't an easy journey, but if it was, everybody would do it. But if you give yourself the opportunity to, I promise you, it'll be worth it.
Marisol Perez Guizar. I go by Soul, and I was there at ACW from September of 2020 until March of 2021. I was court ordered to go to ACW. I was 27 years an addict prior to arriving there at ACW. I am a suicide survivor as well. I had a suicide attempt in 2010. I got into a very domestic, violent, abusive relationship. I had my skull fractured in a couple different places. I had broken ribs on both sides and just fell into a really bad crowd after that. I got introduced to methamphetamine and harder drugs in that relationship. Obviously, it caused me to get incarcerated. I did almost a year and a half of incarceration prior to getting to ACW. But I know that while I was incarcerated, I had a 5-year prison term hanging over my head. The DA was pushing for prison, and I just needed help. I needed help. I needed guidance. I needed a way. I needed a light. DA had no intentions of letting me get out. I kept going to court. I kept getting denied. Nobody wanted to take because of the severity of the charges of my case. She gave me 2 numbers, and that was the Dream Center and ACW. We got the response back from the Dream Center. It was an automatic no because of my charge. And it was on August 17th. I still have the kite. I have it in my room right next to my bed. I've never gotten rid of the kite. I've kept that kite right next to my picture of my Jesus, my divine mercy. And I live by this. ACW said yes to me when everybody else said no. And for that, I am eternally and wholeheartedly grateful. And I knew that all I needed was one yes. All I needed was that one yes. And God put it in the heart of the executive director to give me the one chance that I needed.
My name is Maya Gant, and ACW's alumni from the year 2019. I never could understand why my mom chose her addiction over me growing up. I never really understood. I just knew that she was never there. I've always loved her, but couldn't understand why she didn't love us more than being outside until I became my mom in my own way. I am a mother of 4, 3 boys and 2 girls. And for 10 years of their life, I was an absent mom due to my addiction. And the love for my kids and the pain in their eyes was never strong enough to stop me from my addiction. You are a human being. Your journey, your mistakes, your addiction is not who you are, it's what you did. It's part of the book. It's part of our mistakes become stepping stones to help us elevate to a higher power. Self-care first. Love yourself. Build yourself. Do it for yourself. Because with yourself, by yourself, you're going to win. But key thing is one day at a time, trusting the process and allowing ACW to help you. Because this is a program that does work. Saved my life. I'm very thankful to the staff here for being patient with me. Anything can turn around. No matter how bad it may feel.
My name is Sarah Khan, and I was at ACW 2021. I was drinking and smoking a lot, so I called for help. Also, I was dating someone at the time who I would consider toxic. I was put on a 5150 hold, and I was taken to Exodus. And I overheard them talking, and they said, I had my friend Sam pick me up, and she called and they said, yeah, we have a bed available for you. And then that's how I ended up at ACW. I saw Miss Liz for therapy weekly. I wish I saw her every day. I was a cook. And also having a schedule really helps people like us stay in check. You don't have to react to every single feeling that you get. You can just sit there and process the feelings. You don't have to do something about it. A lot of times I was very reactive. I would want to do something about a bad feeling immediately, I would say talk to your friends and family, reach out as much as possible, go to meetings. They're not so fun at first, but then you start to find your friends there in your community. I met my best friend in treatment and be there for you, and even through sharing, you'll start to build that confidence again to talk to other people, especially if you're a little shy, and one day at a time.
Rose Rodriguez, actually, and I was at ACW like Thanksgiving Day through after Christmas in 2021. I was a part of Narcotics Anonymous, but I relapsed, and my sponsee sister had went there. And so she suggested that I go there. I realized a lot about myself. I can sit there and think about like Miss Charlene talking about how the disease of addiction is talks to your own voice. And I had never heard that before. You saved me in a lot of ways, and I learned a lot. It's because of ACW that I'm sitting here in Beverly Hills today. Don't give up on yourself. And give it a shot and actually try to make it work. I know a lot of times we get in there, we're forced because of a court card or whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. You can actually succeed if you try. But you really, really have to stick with it and stay vigilant once you get out, because it's easy to go back to people you used to hang out with and use with. It's super easy to do that. It's harder to do what I've done. But you get rewarded beyond your dreams when you do. So I hope everybody can do that goes there, like I did.
Hi, my name is Ale. I was at ECW in 2021 for 3 months. With the help of ACW, I was able to have full custody back of my daughter. It didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually within a couple of years. But I ended up, after residential, I did outpatient. I learned tools, put tools in my toolbox, and I was able to stay clean. I have 3 years and counting of clean time. I have been able to get off probation, and I have a life worth living today. And it's all thanks to having that solid foundation at ACW.
Hello, I'm Mayor Karen Bass, and it is my absolute honor to congratulate the Alcoholism Center for Women on reaching this incredible milestone, 50 years of dedication and service to women struggling with addiction. For half a century, ACW has saved countless lives and made a positive impact through its rehabilitative programs, which have helped shape the future of Los Angeles communities in so many meaningful ways. I had the opportunity to visit you several months ago, and for me it was a real pleasure because I remember the center from at least 30 years ago when I was at Community Coalition. You were doing that work of saving lives and helping people obtain and maintain sobriety, and I'm just so honored and excited to know that that work continues. It's because of your passion, commitment, and tireless efforts over the years that have truly made a difference. So congratulations again on 50 fantastic years, and here's to 50 more.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Gary Tsai. I'm the Director of the Substance Abuse Prevention and Control Bureau with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. I'm thrilled to congratulate the Alcoholism Center for Women on 50 years of outstanding service. For half a century, ACW has been a guiding light for women and families in our communities. Your commitment to social justice and empowering individuals has made a lasting impact and continues to inspire. Although I'm unable to be with you in person today to celebrate, please do know that SAPC applauds you for this great achievement. We honor both your remarkable history and the bright future ahead for your agency. We thank you for your community engagement and work, and we're proud to stand with ACW. We look forward to many years of collaboration and success, and want to congratulate you on this incredible milestone. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Hilda El Solis, Supervisor to the 1st District of LA County. It is my honor to join you in celebrating the Alcoholism Center for Women's 50th anniversary of providing life-changing services to our most vulnerable residents. When the Alcoholism Center for Women first opened its doors, it was the only one of its kind providing shelter and substance use disorder treatment for women in California and in the West Coast. And now, just a few blocks away from MacArthur Park, which has experienced significant increases in overdose, mortality, substance use disorders, and serious mental illnesses, the Alcoholism Center for Women is as critical as ever. And I am grateful to the Alcoholism Center for Women for 50 years of bringing important residential, outpatient, and enhanced care management services to our 1st District residents.
I'm Vaughn Franklin. I am a producer, author, preacher, among many other things, and I'm on location right now in Atlanta, Georgia, producing my next film called R&B for Netflix. But I just had to take time out, a moment from set, just to congratulate ACW on 50 years. It's unbelievable the impact that you continue to have decade in and decade out. Many of you may not know that my family, that I was affected by alcoholism. My father was an alcoholic. He died of a heart attack when he was 36, when I was just 9 years old. And I can tell you the ripple effects that has had have affected me until today. So this work of recovery and getting clean and prioritizing sobriety is so important. And the work that you do, ACW, is vital. So I want to say congratulations. I'm honored to support you. I'm honored to be with you in solidarity with you. And I encourage anyone that has not yet donated or supported ACW to support this work. There are so many families that are being healed and destinies that are being changed because of the work that ACW does. So join me, please, and not just congratulating, but let's also join me, if you would, in donating. I do believe this organization will be around for another 50 years, and that there will be even more, thousands and thousands of women that will go through this program and regain their recovery because of the support that you may provide to ACW. So congratulations, ACW, and anyone watching, join me in celebrating, but also donating. God bless.